Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the new developments in the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie, the storm threat in the West that's triggering evacuation warnings, and why the State Department is urging Americans to exercise caution while traveling by train during the Winter Games. First, it's been 15 agonizing days since Nancy Guthrie first went missing. Investigators are now reporting a break in the case. Sources say that they have recovered DNA from a glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home. That glove appears to match one believed to have been worn by a masked person caught on surveillance video. This comes as friends of the Guthries say that the family is frustrated with the pace of the investigation. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, reports from the scene in Tucson. The growing fallout from the release of the Epstein files in a 6-page letter to Congress, Attorney General Pam Bondi announces the DOJ has released all relevant documents. Why some members of Congress are furious and demanding more answers, as Britain's former Prince Andrew is facing intense scrutiny. The storm threat stretching across the West, Los Angeles on high alert, the evacuation warnings and road closures ahead of the storm. Snow could make for a messy Monday morning commute in New York City and other parts of the Northeast. Our weather team is standing by with the forecast. And a potential travel nightmare for flyers after yet another partial government shutdown. Democrats are digging in, demanding changes to immigration enforcement, leading to a possible stalemate. The State Department with a warning to Americans about train travel and to exercise caution during the Winter Games after allegations of sabotage along several railways. Military forces board and seize another sanctioned oil tanker in a dramatic operation in the Indian Ocean. Punches thrown on the court. 6 players ejected from the game after this wild brawl between St. John's and Providence. Fans feel the heat after this fire forced them from their seats during a basketball game between the Oklahoma Sooners and Georgia Bulldogs. And America Strong tonight. The new miracle workers, 5 trauma surgeons are breaking barriers as they heal the sick.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News.
On this Sunday night, Canada's first golden moment at the Milano Cortina Olympics. Mogul skier Mikhail Kingsbury stands at the top of the podium one last time.
It's more than a dream come true.
Winning Canada's first gold medal of these games. Plus, the plan to boost domestic defense spending and create thousands of Canadian jobs. Nova Scotians to the rescue.
It's very sad. I worry for the people in Cuba.
The effort to send aid to Cuba in the face of canceled flights and a U.S. fuel embargo. And saved from a Manitoba landfill.
We can help them. They are going to contribute to the community.
How millions worth of new clothing is being gifted to those most in need.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Canada finally earned its first gold medal at the Milano Cortina Olympics today, and it was all thanks to the man they called the King of Moguls. Mikhail Kingsbury came out on top for the very first dual moguls competition. Our Mike Armstrong is in Milan covering the games, and Mike, looks like we finally have that monkey off our back.
Well, we do, Colleen, and even though he has a fairly full trophy case at home already, the moment was almost overwhelming for the man in the middle of it. In what will be the last run of his Olympic career, Mikhail Kingsbury added to his legend. In the final, he was up against a longtime rival, another superstar in the sport. The Japanese skier stumbled before the last jump and then missed it completely. The 33-year-old Kingsbury came to Italy with one goal. Gold. He missed one Thursday in singles moguls, settling for silver by a sliver. But on this day, judges' scores were just a formality.
It's better than I ever expected. I mean, finishing my Olympic career with 5 medals and 5 stars, and the last one is gold, first in history in mogul skiing. It's more than a dream come true.
In hockey, Team Canada got goals from 9 different scorers, routing France 10-2. Connor McDavid had a third straight 3-point game. Macklin Celebrini had 2 goals, and Tom Wilson had a rarity in Olympic hockey, a fight. Dropping the gloves can be a suspension, but it's not automatic. Wilson will be able to continue playing. The men's next game is Tuesday. Canada's women are back at it Monday, playing a semi-final game against Switzerland. Now, in figure skating, near disaster for what was one of the most inspiring stories of these games. The Canadian pair of Diana Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps skated in the short program. Stellato-Dudek coming off an injury and at 42 is the oldest skater in the competition by far. The pair had an early stumble and a late fall. They finished in 14th place. But in a shocker, another Canadian pair on the biggest stage put up a personal best. Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud are in third place. Both Canadian pairs qualified for the long...
Welcome back. New data this week proving President Trump's economy is boosting Americans' bottom lines across the country. Inflation is down while growth, jobs, and wages are all up, as the Consumer Price Index rose 2.4% in the last year, beating expectations and marking an 8-month low in inflation. One of the big catalysts, lower energy prices due to the president's push for America's energy independence. Year over year, all energy is down 0.1%, while gasoline is down 7.5%. The result, real wages accounting for inflation are up 1.25% compared to Joe Biden's term when real wages were down 1.4%. And then there's jobs. 130,000 jobs were created last month in January, nearly double the expectations, with the unemployment rate down to 4.3%, below economists' expectations. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has designated this upcoming Friday as its next opinion day, which could include its decision on the president's use of emergency tariffs. Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is a White House senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, Peter Navarro. Peter, it's great to see you this morning.
Hey, Maria.
Can you assess the macroeconomic story for us and how it's impacting citizens today?
Absolutely. It's the perfect Trump economy in 2026. It's what we call a Goldilocks economy. The last time we saw what we're seeing now was 1998. And what are we seeing? We're seeing stock market over $50,000. That's Wall Street. But we're also seeing rising real wages. That's Main Street. We're seeing in a disinflation environment where we're at or near Fed target, and it's really extra what's happening here. You and I, your day job during the week is with these macro indicators. We've had the jobs report come in with blowout numbers. We had the ISM Manufacturing Index, which is dear to my heart because I'm the counselor for trade and manufacturing. That's showing a very robust final jump in manufacturing. CPI, as you just reported, look, and this is happening because of tariffs, not in spite of them, as the critics would say, because if there were any tariff inflation, it would show up in the core. It's simply not doing that. So everything is hitting on all major cylinders, and the best is yet to come. I'll tell you, Maria, when Americans get those rebate checks on tax day, that's going to be the biggest rebate and broad-based in America. I would say this. The media's got to take some responsibility here, and the Democrats, to the extent they keep bashing us, irrespective of the data, that's going to drag down confidence. It's like, come on, see the data, speak the data, be real. Trump economy, perfect, best year since '98. We'll top that. It's probably one of the best years in modern American economic history. Not hyperbole. That's what the data's telling us.
Well, that is great news. And if you say things are even going to be better than now, I believe you, because I remember in April last year, it was so-called when the president talked about his tariffs, and there was so much upset about it. I remember a day that the market was down 2,000 points. You came on my show and you said the Dow is going to 50,000. And of course, it did last week. So congrats on that prediction. But Peter, I want to zero in on one other issue that's happening, and it is changing the economy at every level, and that is artificial intelligence. See your job go away. What's the plan at the White House to counter those AI efficiencies, and how serious of an issue are you looking at this?
It's a massive issue, and it's right on the president's desk and on his radar. I think the one that's been most publicized is the effect on electricity prices, and the president has already taken action. We're going to be taking a lot more, but there's water issues. There's the loss of agricultural.
Your area is under threat. Tune into ABC Local Radio for the most reliable and up-to-date information.
Today, police believe an elderly man kidnapped from his Sydney home is still alive.
I'm a million percent confident that they have.
Hello and a very good morning to you. This is Sky News at 4 a.m. These are your latest headlines. 3 is the magic number. Team GB win 2 more gold medals at the Winter Olympics. The Prime Minister announces new plans to combat illegal content made by AI chatbots. The critics say he's not doing enough. A former model who was trafficked from Cape Town to Jeffrey Epstein's private island describes how her recruiters laughed as she was sexually assaulted.
I just freaked out and I suddenly realized, oh my God, my family aren't going to see me again. These people might kill me.
Driven to living in a vehicle, the number of van dwellers quadruple in parts of the country, blaming the cost of living. And Chief Mouser Larry celebrates 15 cat years in Downing Street. Hello and a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on Sky News. It was another golden day for Team GB at the Winter Olympics. Matt Weston has made history, winning his second gold medal of the Games, this time in the mixed skeleton with Tabitha Stoker, while Charlotte Banks and Hugh Nightingale won Britain's first team gold medals ever on snow since the Games began more than 100 years ago. Sky's Charlotte Leeming was watching the action from Italy.
Fast-paced and high stakes, but the biggest adrenaline rush for Team GB was at the finish line. Matt Weston and teammate Tabby Stoker's superb run capped a super Sunday, with the pair claiming mixed skeleton gold. For Surrey-born Weston, the result had historical significance. His success made him the first British athlete to win 2 medals at the same Winter Olympics. But he had to do it the hard way, clawing back a time deficit left by their German rivals to clinch victory.
This is DW News live from Berlin. Europe breathes a sigh of relief as the US tones down rhetoric on defence. Secretary of State Marco Rubio strikes a less aggressive note at the Munich Security Conference. The US and Europe play down transatlantic divisions and deliver a message of better together. And the Middle East in focus as the US builds its military presence in the region and prepares for more talks with Iran. Israel's Prime Minister warns against any deal with the Islamic regime. And they call it the greatest party on earth. More than 1 million carnival revelers descend on Rio de Janeiro. Non-stop festivities are building up to the grand finale, the Battle of the Samba Bands.
Hello, this is Night Watch here on France 24. The headlines. At least 12 people are killed in Israeli airstrikes across Gaza. Meanwhile, mines are to be built for $4.5 towards adding this Thursday. The US's top diplomat, Marco Rubio, is in Budapest launching a 2-day trip through Central Europe, strengthening ties. Rubio says Washington wants deeper cooperation across the region, from security to economic development. And parts of France's southwest remains underwater, with authorities issuing red alert warnings in 2 departments. More than 1,000 firefighters and police officers have now been deployed to deal with the record-breaking flooding.
The wrong person.
Accused Bondi Beach terrorist Naveed Akram appears in court for the first time. Intense debate about the pricing of more than 200 Coles products during the opening of a landmark federal court case. And the International Monetary Fund issues the Treasurer a stark warning to overhaul capital gains tax and raise the GST ahead of the budget. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Catherine Robinson. We're taking you live this hour to Melbourne, where emergency services are providing an update about the extreme fire conditions in Victoria for tomorrow.
Australia. Tomorrow we're expecting an elevated day of fire danger right across Victoria. We have 5 districts that will be in extreme, being the southwest, the Wimmera, central, north central and western South Gippsland, with the remainder of the state with high fire danger. And Alan will speak about what that means in terms of total fire ban for tomorrow, and also the risks that will bring. In good news, on Friday we saw 2 of the major fires that we've had with us for over a month now at Walwa Mount Mawson, and also the fire at Longwood be deemed under control and being passed back to local crews for continued rehabilitation and stabilisation of the landscape of where those fires have been. But also it now means that recovery operations are fully underway for both of those fires. That leaves us with one major fire that is still contained, being the Otway complex. Firefighters are continuing to put in containment lines and control lines.
Africa News. The news.
Leaders from around the continent are convening in Addis Ababa for the whole weekend. The reason? They are attending the annual African Union Summit, the 39th edition since the organization's creation. But with the past year turbulent one, the African Union's response to the various crises and conflicts has come under scrutiny. The African Union is notably being accused of ignoring its own rules. The continent has experienced 10 military coups in the past 6 years. Coup leaders are not allowed to stand African Union elections. But Guinea and Gabon, although suspended after their respective coups, were reinstated last year. The plethora of crises also showed the weakness of the African Union in creating unity on the continent. But for some observers, this weakness has been brought about by African leaders themselves, who have little interest in putting pressure on themselves through supporting an organization like the African Union. The violence in Nigeria shows no sign of stopping. Several dozens of people were reported to have been shot dead or had their throats cut in Nigeria's Niger state in attacks on 3 different villages. Gunmen on motorcycles swept into the villages of Tungamakeri, Konkoso and Pisa early on Saturday morning, according to eyewitnesses. House and killed dozens of residents. Speak of between 50 and 46 killed as people are currently missing. It is just one of several armed attacks in the past weeks, and not the deadly has been struggling to rein in and groups waiting in its Was his death simply a tragic accident? French traveller's sudden death during a cultural visit to northern Chad has left his travel group in shock. The 70-year-old man, identified as Paul Ferreri, on Wednesday was found dead in the desert on Friday. He had reportedly gone on a hike.
C'est un accident tragique.
It's a tragic accident, but I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think Chad has much to do with it. In other words, it's an accident that could have happened to anyone, at any time, and probably at any age.
N'importe.
Was senior at 7 leave and the claim action against Myanmar's military for alleged war crimes. Demonstrations in Malaysia's capital over allegations involving anti-corruption chief Azam Baki's past shared dealings. He rejects the accusations and says that he's ready to be investigated. India hosts a major AI summit, positioning itself as a leader of the global tech race. Industry giants are there, and $100 billion in potential investments could be pledged.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.